Do you guys remember last December, there was something that was going on in South Korea and it was all over our news. And we were just trying to figure out, like, what happened, right? So what ended up happening was that they were in the throes of election, right? And the then sitting president, Yoon, was losing. Okay. And he was also having some difficulty getting legislation through their parliament. And so what he did was he declared martial law. For this video, it'll be called ML. And so not only did he declare martial law, but he also said that it was going to be illegal for the parliament to assemble and also to vote. Additionally, he sent the military and had them around their assembly building so that they couldn't get in. And then that's when we saw all of these parliament members jumping over walls, doors, and windows, trying to get in to their building so that they would be able to cast their vote. And they successfully did it. And as a result, ML had to be lifted. Okay? Why is this important? I've been seeing a lot of comments talking about ML in the United States. And I already made a video like this, but it was restricted and has yet to actually been talked about. Like, I sent in an appeal, they didn't do it. Anyway, so I'm back again and I'm gonna do it a different way. So, a little bit of history about ML. Now, the thing about ML here in the United States is that it is basically mostly used for state and local governments. There are not a lot of instances, especially not in recent history, where this has actually happened, where the federal government had proclaimed it and it applied to all of the contiguous United States. It's really not how that goes, okay? Now, the thing about ML is that it is a power which when it is activated, which it can only be done in emergency purposes. This is not something that's just done willy-nilly. It's done in emergency purposes. And what it does is it then circumvents the citizen laws in a particular area. So there has to be a particular area for a particular time when it comes down to ML. Like, you just can't make a broad stroke and say, oh, all of this is ML. No, there is a direct location and there is a set time as to why ML can be implemented. Now, the crazy part about ML or whatever is the fact that it's not really clearly defined. All right. And when I say it's not clearly defined, I mean, it's not clearly defined as in this is the law, subtext explaining it, subtext explaining it, subtext explaining it. That's not really what exists. However, Congress has been controlling this space because of two different reasons. So in 1952, there's a Supreme Court case called Youngstown. And essentially, this sets the precedence of saying that whenever there's a vague law and Congress explicitly it details their desires by implementing statutes, then the executive cannot go against the will of Congress regarding what's stating it in these statutes, unless this power is expressly given to the president in the Constitution. Otherwise, he has to abide by the statute that Congress has already implemented, clarifying their desires on a specific vague situation. Okay? Now, thing number two is that there is a law that essentially says that that the military is not able to participate in local or, government law enforcement activities, which is what ML is. And the law is called the Posse Comitatus Act. And so essentially, Congress has this right? And they also utilize the power, right? Now, local and state governments also have the right to be able to do this, and they do it more often than others. Congress has given the president the ability to utilize this power short of ML, right? So like you have like the Insurrection Act, and then you have in that Insurrection Act, it allows for the president to be able to deploy the military to help local law enforcement. Okay, but it's not going to usurp local law enforcement and therefore take over an area. Okay, now we do know that the president is commander in chief when it comes down to war, but domestic deployment of the military is something that is actually expressly given to Congress. And so he's not able to do so without an act of Congress. And that's why the whole ML thing wouldn't really fly. But what it would do, as I've been saying this whole time, is that he's like a baby in a candy store. He's just trying to touch everything that he can to see what he can change.